Well, good afternoon, good evening. This is Partickhill Station. So let's try this. I think, yeah, I've still got an echo. Testing, testing. So we've got sound. I'm just worried about an echo. If you could let me know, Carol, if there's an echo there, I would appreciate it. Testing, testing. Yeah, there's still an echo somewhere. All good. So you don't hear an echo. So you don't hear an echo, Carol, because that's what's really upsets the setup. Well, that's great. I'm glad that's working. It's a bit disconcerting when I get an echo. So you may have seen a couple of YouTube videos that were going around with Barry Davis, who helped me out with one of my A4s. I haven't got to fixing it yet, but this is the one in question. And I'll try and... Well, as you can see, that cog, it's not a brass cog. Barry recommends a brass one, so I'll need to... I'll try and fix this, or I'll need to get a brass one ordered. And the problem is that the cog is not engaging with the shaft and results in it spinning, and the loco doesn't go anywhere. So it's a simple fix from what Barry has described, and that is using crazy glue, a very light coat of crazy glue in the inside diameter of the cog, and ensuring that, you can't see it in this view, but ensuring that it doesn't make contact with the brass washer. So I'll get to that maybe tomorrow. That just means that I can't run that particular A4. That one's a bit squeaky. Anyway, we'll get something else on there. So this one is a Walter R. Wigham, and it's pulling a rake of TRIANG and HORNBY ex-LNER and LMS coaches. Yeah, I'm not really sure what goes on with these cameras. Seem to go on and off at will. All right, so there's definitely an echo now. Check this again. No, that's not working. Okay, so see, I've got an echo when I let that one go. Okay, so can you let me know? Can you hear anything now, Tony? Are you hearing an echo? Thanks, Tony. It's very annoying about this this echo business. Well, you got sound, that's great. Anyway, I was trying to explain that there's a second level around here. As you can see in the townscape up there, that is intended to take 2 additional tracks. And, you know, it'll cross from there, across here, over to the other side. And then that whole townscape will have to move. I was saying that I find these Gresley coaches, although they're really very nice, they don't go through these Pico points that well. And my wife's out there filming me. I don't know who she's filming. Yes, I'm using one cell phone and an iPad. And I think what you're going to say is plug in an earphone or something. Just bear with me for a minute or two. Oh, good evening, Joseph Fletcher. I apologise for the echo. I'm still trying to resolve that. Seems to happen to me every time I do this. Something different coming into the station. Obviously not the same time frame, but it's all about running trains. Testing. 1, 2, 3. Testing. Can you let me know if you've still got an echo there? 1, 2, 3. All right, so okay, so I've turned that button back on again, but I think you're still getting an echo. Testing. 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 Okay, so now that's giving you an echo, I know that. And there's an echo there. Okay, so let me know if that's okay. So in case you missed it earlier, there's a problem with that cog. Barry Davis has been very good and Barry Davis has been very good in helping me out with this. And he's identified that cog there has a gap between the ID and the shaft, and it's just spinning. So he's recommended and demonstrated on YouTube the fix for that, and he's suggested that I use some crazy glue, a very light touch of it, on the inside diameter of the cog. Well, hi, Paul. Good to see you again. Unfortunately, I think I still get this echo problem, and it's very difficult to solve. Tony, that's the silver link. And it's the metal chassis and body, I think. It's pretty heavy. Now, the little 040 that's going around there, I got that from the Hornby Club, and made up the little wagon that's following it to act as an additional tender. I just kit bashed it, added a little bike on it for effect. Good evening, Wilbury Castle. Good to see you back. Paul Higgins, no, I have not used CD Motors. However, I have read a little bit about it. The Scottish guy, and I'm just up for his name at the moment, he modifies them and sells them as kits, and you can see them on YouTube, so that might be a solution. Yes, that heifer, that's it. Yeah, in fact, we were back in Scotland a number of years back, and up by Aviemore. We were in a timeshare there. And of course, there is the, I think it's the Strathpeffer Conservation Society that run the station north of Aviemore. And it might be Strathpeffer. So I take it you've still got an echo there. How's that? Is that any better? Maybe that's it. I think what was happening here is that I had the the speaker on the laptop. Oh, that's good. Thanks, Paul. So I've been experimenting, trying to cover more of the layout, and I bought this small webcam, and it looks like something out of War of the Worlds, as you can see. But for some reason it dropped off. I'm going to change the location of this one. See if I can. I'm assuming you're all still there. Just had a problem with the connection here. The internet is generally pretty good here. Yeah, I seem to be down to one because my iPad dropped off. So I'll just give you, while I'm trying to get hooked up again, for those of you who are not familiar with this layout, I think I started on it about 2 years ago. Always had trains, but they were always in boxes because I was pretty busy at work and I travelled quite a bit, worked long days, and didn't have time really to build a layout until eventually I got to it. A colleague, an old friend of mine, had constructed a 20 by 30 foot layout in his cottage in a place called Brighton, of all places. It's about an hour and a half east of Toronto. Now, he's originally from Cleethorpes. He was a process engineer, and as I say, he built this nice big layout and encouraged me to build something. So my wife afforded me this room, which is about 9 by 9 in the basement, and I'm not a carpenter, I'm not an electrician, but I went to it and did what I thought was the way to go about it. And I know it's not perfect, and I'm sure it could be improved, but it allows me two main lines running, and I've now got storage for carriages and locomotives, excuse me, which I didn't have before. And when I first started doing it, I had one track running around, and I used to make little videos of the mallard running around it, and that's another A4 that's so that means I've probably got 5 A4s. Anyway, so at least I've got it running, and I've probably got more trains than what I really need, and it's difficult storing them. That's a big problem. Storing them and then bringing them out and changing them out. Yeah, you don't want to see my back, so I'll try and relocate this. Hopefully that's as good as a spot as we can get. Now the EM2 is, once again, it's not running very well, and I think it's all down to the spider pickups. Sorry about this. Trying to mute this. I'll try it again. Yeah, I'll need to get back into the EM2, try and fix that. Sometimes it just needs to run. Projects for the layout, in terms of where I'm going to go from here, I was just thinking that I might even put a shuttle running around sort of three sides, just back and forth. I was watching Rob Johnson today, and he's got a fantastic layout, but he did have a number of DMUs running sort of shuttle line back and forth, which just gives you an extra line to put something on. As you can see, the EM2 runs smoothly now that it's got the new wheels from Chams 123, but I think I still need to tinker with the pickups, that spider pickup in that locomotive. And, you know, what I'm thinking of doing is I've got an upcoming birthday, so I might get one of these crickets. If you're not familiar with it, it's like a printer, but it cuts out designs that you make. Some of the guys in the community have them, and you know, you can draw a building or a bridge or whatever, and then cut it out. A very accurate way of doing things. Now, Tony Northeastern will be interested in this. That is the Anderson shelter. It's about 1 inch square. And there's a station master checking it out. Now, you can see they are actual corrugated sheets. I made them myself. And I had a lot of trouble putting it together using crazy glue. I just couldn't get it to stick. So the other day when I was watching Chadwick Model Railways, Charlie was talking about this, and he said he wouldn't be able to get things to work without the activator, so I need to get myself a can of the activator. Now, some of you have probably seen these before. But, you know, there's a low-profile building. I was watching Bluffers to Buffers. I need a similar type building, and I thought, oh, I can do that. That's exactly what I said when I saw Tony's bridge. Thought I can do that, and I did. Anyway, I was looking for corrugated material, and what I ended up finding was this material here. And as you can see, it's a little bit larger than what I ended up with for the Anderson shelter. But the thing is, it's ideal for an industrial type building. Now, the mistake I made with it was I used white glue to stick it to a piece of foam core, and that caused it to warp. And then what I had to do was get a piece of hardwood and then glue it to the hardwood, and that worked out. So the door comes from the Scale Scenes warehouse, and then the artwork I just did it myself. And the name Gillies was from another paper kit. It just so happened that I had an uncle called Gilly, so that worked out fine. And there's my attempt at the concrete wall. Once again, foam core, and all you do is you remove the top cover of the paper on one side, and then paint the surface grey, various shades of grey, score it a couple of times to represent structural joints, and then put some wire in to suggest some broken rebar, and there you've got a concrete wall. And Tony will recognise that type of stonework. I know that in Glasgow, many of the stations have similar type stonework, and originally it was nice coloured sandstone, but with soot and years of use, they turned kind of grey, black, whatever. So, you know, all you do is you take this foam and carve out what you want with a pencil or a pen, and then you can expand the joints with your soldering iron, and then paint it, and it's very effective. And of course the trees. Now, Rob Johnson said to me, "Oh, Charlie, I'll send you one of my trees." So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to work out some kind of a deal, and I'll send him one of my trees. And that's a good way to get variety around your layout. And I did a little demo in the last broadcast I made. So that's the tree, the flower that I picked from the garden, and then sprayed it. And what you can do is you can wrap the trunk with masking tape, painter's tape, to thicken it up a bit, and then paint it, and then spray the flower heads with either glue or hairspray, and then sprinkle the flock of your choice. I'm just going to move this for a second so that you can see. So up in this area here, I'm going to have some kind of a scrapyard, and that's another little low profile building I made there. And if you can see that blue container, that's a scrap container that I made. I scratch built it out of plastic card. I'll try and get it over in a second. And then this is an old B12. It was broken, so I decided to turn it into a scrap local and painted it up, and I used some powders on it as well. Now, because I do a little bit of artwork, I've got pastel chalk, and I've used that pastel, scraped it, ground it up, and that gave me some cheap weathering materials. Bit of a stretch there. So in real life, this would be about 19 feet by 7 by 7. You know, in the corners, I used, it was actually 2mm by 2mm angle iron. And then the little rods, painted it up, and then I threw in pieces of track, and old wheel sets, tin foil, painted it, and it looks pretty effective. Now, it might seem a bit repetitive to some, but just remind people, don't throw out your old printers, because this is a roller that I extracted from a printer and painted up a little bit, and you can remove the rubber. You just pull that off and paint it up, and it looks like that. Makes a nice little load. And of course, there's my little station master's house, made out of cardboard from the backs of the foolscap. Well, thanks, Carol. You know, I started out as a draftsman in the shipyards in Scotland. Then I came to Canada, and one thing led to another, and I got into CAD and did that for a number of years, and ended up being project coordinator, systems type guy. But I've always known how to draw. And to give you an idea of what I can do, if you look at Galgorm Hall, Paul Chapman's site there in Northern Ireland, I did the artwork for Paul. One of it was a painting of a DMU running through the countryside, and then similarly a more modern one going up the coast, which I did a live drawing and coloured it with pastel colours or pastel chalk, and he was very pleased with that, and I was so thrilled that he's used it as the intro to his YouTube page. Near calamity there, but that's what happens. I'm just going to put a few things on here and just get something different. As I said, the big problem is getting things on and off when there's only one set of hands. That's the Phoenix. Okay, Fred, thanks for dropping in again. We'll see you on the web. Okay, bye, Paul. Thanks for dropping by. Yeah, so just talking about call-outs, Barry Davis, have to salute Barry for the great work that he does and the information that he provides on great deals that are available to the model railway community, that you don't always have to pay top dollar to get a good product. And Barry has demonstrated that. I really enjoy his videos, and he's been very helpful to me with the Ringfield motor, because I have a few Ringfield motor driven units that are problematic, and as I said to Barry, they scream like banshees, some of them. And Charlie over at Charlie Chadwick Model Railway, he does excellent work too, and you know, I love his presentation, I love his film work, I love the projects that he does, and how informative his videos are. Very inspirational. And of course, I have to mention Chams 123, John's Amazing Trains. Now, there was a notice on Facebook that said that John had passed away. And when I read that, I was absolutely stunned, because I'd spoken with him less than a week prior to that, as I was trying to work out how I was going to get a set of his reworked wheels for the EM2. Anyway, I made a number of inquiries, but people on the MRYCG, a number of them said they had read that he had passed away. Anyway, I managed to get a hold of him by hook or by crook, and yes, he was still alive, and I was very pleased to hear that. So John does do the conversion of those knurled wheel sets that are used on the EM2 and similar type locomotives, and they are available in limited quantities. And it turns out that John said in the 1972 models had a different set of wheels, and that if you can find some of them, they may do the trick. And of course, Tony Northeastern, yeah, what a great layout Tony's got. And as I said, I watched him put together that bridge, and I thought to myself, yeah, I can do that. So I made a couple of videos about the construction, and I dug out my old Draftsman's Tramo set and came up with a suitable radius for the arches. And if I could put my eye on it, I would pull them out. I think I put it away for the duration. But I made out of a map board. Now that was maybe not the best choice, because map board is pretty dense, difficult to cut, and it was pretty hard, but I managed to get it all done and glued together. And then I painted it sort of similar colour. I painted it kind of battleship grey, blue type colour, and then I added rust effects to it, and it looks very, very good, if I say so myself. I didn't think for a minute that Tony was going to be on here tonight. Had I known, I would have gotten it out, or at least searched for it. Now, you know, maybe there's somebody else broadcasting now at the same time. I put a notice on the MRYCG Facebook page saying that I'd be going live through YouTube. And what I've found is that, you know, it will say here you've got 2 viewers, but the next day when I look at it on YouTube, there could be 30 viewers or whatever. So not everybody's able to tie into StreamYard. I'm not really sure how that works or why that happens. Now, talking about technology, and I've showed some of you this before. This is a little power unit that I got from China. I think it cost me $2 or something. Now, it only goes in one direction, and that might suit if you had a round and round layout that you weren't going to do any reversing on. But it's interesting. There's the there's the unit that's controlling the one line, and look at the size difference there. And I have another one over there, and then there's a Tech 2 controller. This one's just slowed down. So it's amazing how technology changes things. So, talking about controllers, I'm sure you've all had one of these. Well, John Champs 123, John's Amazing Trains, did this fantastic tutorial on how you could convert one of these and make your old TRIANG trains run slow and perfect. And I followed these instructions, and I found myself a few of these. I think they had to be before 95 or 94, that particular model, and they're always painted on the back of these units. That's the old TRIANG 965, R965 unit. Anyway, John went through that process, and I got a list of everything that I needed, and I went ahead and did it, and it worked. And, you know, I surprised myself because I had never done anything like that before. So there's different ways you can control these, and you know, the friend of mine who has the big layout, and who's since passed away, all his locos were either DCC ready or they came equipped with a chip. And you know, he'd said to me, "Oh, Charlie, you should try and do this." But you know, when you think about the number of locos that you might have, and if you're using DC, it can run to pretty expensive exercise. Now, I do have, I think, the original HORNBY DC controller, and I have a couple of chips. I think they were HORNBY chips. And I thought at one point maybe I'll take an old TRIANG Princess and try it, but I just haven't got around to it. I'm not sure if I can run DC and DCC here. I'm just going to pull this in for a second. And I've got a visitor coming through. This is quite different. Now, that's a Delaware and Hudson sort of F3 or F9, one of these locomotives, and I got it from an old friend whose son had these when he was a kid. So they might be 30 plus years old or 40 years old. But it's amazing how well they run. And it just demonstrates that, you know, the Americans were further ahead than the Brits on this stuff. Runs really smooth, slow. Now, I've probably shown this one before. If you're looking for free or cheap flock, then next time your wife gets flowers, borrow or steal this foam that's always in the bottom of the vase and crush it up, and it makes great cheap flock. Now, I found a couple of these model scene kits of the telephone booth, but what's missing is the graphics, the white background with the black lettering telephone. Does anybody know where I can find them before I put this together? Fox transfers. Yeah, I'll have a look at them. There's actually a few things I want to try and get. And the problem I've kind of run into is, you know, I may want to buy an item that's £5, let's say, just for talking's sake. But they want £20 to send it to you. So if that's the case, I'm going to have to make up a little list. Maybe get a couple of spare cogs that I can use for the A4s, and get some transfers and other odds and ends in place, one order. And that's why I don't buy any stuff from eBay anymore, because a lot of the stuff I've got, I found it through eBay, either in the UK or in the States, and sometimes here. But the cost of postage is just astronomical. If you look on eBay, and in your case, when you look on eBay, it may say £5 postage. But for us here, it can be £20 for postage or more in some cases. And it just takes the value right out of the product. Yeah, okay. I'll certainly, Carol, I'll certainly try them. And I'd also like to get, seems to be a bad point here for this. Not sure why it keeps derailing. I'd like to get a British Railways totem sign so that I can put my Partickhill station up on the wall. If anybody's got any recommendations where I might find like a blank one that I could, or one that I could edit, that would be great. I've actually got 3 canopies here, and it was a gift from my mother-in-law, of all people. I don't think my wife's ever bought me a train, but my mother-in-law bought me a Hornby station set, and it came with the 2 canopies, and then I found a third one. So the whole idea is that from about this location around to about there would be a tunnel area, similar to many Glasgow and other station entrances. There was a tunnel there, and maybe that would give me an opportunity to relocate those buildings into this one area here, and that would free up that level for development. Now, another thing that Chams 123 did was, I'll try and dig this out here. So I don't know if you've seen me running these. That's the Carabelle car transporters. Now what John did, he did this thing where he put a bolt through there and a nut and a washer plus a nut on the other side. And what that did was that stabilized the bogies so that it didn't flop around on the track. And then he replaced the wheels. Now, I think he said the wheels he used were 19.6 diameter, and that Lima or Bachmann supplied them. But when I started looking at it, they were either not available or they were astronomically priced, as if they had found out that they were a wanted item in the UK. So I found these wheels in China, of all places, and I fitted them up just as John had described, and they run perfectly. It took me a while to get the wheels seated properly. But eventually it worked. And I've got a whole set of them here, and you can see these are the cases, and it holds 7 or 8 carriages or locals. That helps keep me organised. Now I have quite a few diesels and electric locomotives, and then I picked up a Pendolino set. So one day it stopped working, and I took it off and thought, well, I'll make sure that the wires are properly connected. Did what I could, and then realised that this is a sealed unit, can't get into it. So I put it back on the track and put the power on. I don't know if you can see it. Just in there, it's a grey mark, and that was a result of a puff of smoke. So I'm not sure if I've burnt out the card. And that was very unfortunate. Now going back to Chams 1, 2, 3, the Oracle from Nottingham, as I've decided to call them. So here's the inside of the modified TRIANG controller. And basically what John did was he removed a small heatsink that was in that location. And he replaced it with those 3 wires attached to a MOSFET 555. And then that was secured to this heat shield that I got from an old piece of electronics. And then in the back, I had to do a bit of jumping because they wanted to cut off the power track and at both ends, and then get a new set of wires going out to a battery pack, and then out to the track from here, and works perfectly. and you know, this big heat shrink takes away all the heat. But if you look through my older videos, you will see that on one of them I had gone through this exercise, and I wanted to demonstrate to John that it worked. So I, when he said battery, I thought battery charger. So I got this battery charger, a car battery charger, and I was in here and I had it hooked up with a couple of alligator clamps, and I sent it to John, and he said, "Oh, be very careful, Charlie. You know, that's very dangerous. Don't stand on those alligator clamps." I could have gone up in a puff of smoke. So, you know, it's sometimes you just don't know enough. I just found something on the track there that was preventing these from going through the points. Get this silver link out again. That one's squealing a little bit. Probably just needs a bit of oiling. Okay, Carol, thanks very much. Good of you to drop by. We'll see you next time. Hopefully by then we will have solved the audio problem. These Pullmans, this is only the second or third time they've been on the track. I don't remember when or where I got them. It could have been eBay, or it could have been at the Model Railway Show here in Toronto. Now, I am a member of the Platelayers group, which is a Toronto-based Model Railway group, and they have a show sort of every 2 years. Unfortunately, we haven't had it for a couple of years due to COVID, and they have a number of layouts show up from different locations in Ontario, and sometimes sometimes we get a layout in from Calgary in Alberta, and one from down from Ottawa, and they get a good selection of layouts, and there's always a number of guys selling. Fix this. A number of guys selling locomotives, models, and coaches. So that's an opportunity. Sort of every 2 years. Anyway, I think time's getting on. As you guys, it's 9:45 for you guys over in the UK. I should probably sign out now. Thanks very much for dropping by, all of you, and look forward to chatting with you next time. And as I said, I'll do my best to try and get this echo problem resolved. So if you can, remember, give me the big thumbs up, smash that bell, and please subscribe to my channel. I really appreciate it if you could do that, and we'll see you next time. It's goodbye from Partickhill Station. Bye for now. Oh, hi, John. I was just signing off. I didn't see you there. Yeah, I guess because it's nearly 10 o'clock over there, thought it'd be a good time to sign off. So, as you can see, it was a kind of an A4 night, and I apologise about the echo. I'm going to turn this one off. Hopefully that would take care of it. Yeah, I kind of done everything I could to just hang on here. The iPad might be the issue, but I had done everything that I could to try and resolve the problem with the echo, and I thought I had it nailed. And I was using basically a webcam, my iPhone, and an iPad, and it looks as if the iPad is the culprit. And I'd been watching and listening to Jason, and he had described to me how he did it, and I tried to follow his instructions, but still had the issue. And as I said, I think it's the iPad, so I'll have to refrain from the iPad. What I was trying to do was set up a secondary iPhone. I'll need to speak with Mark over in Donegal, because he runs 2 iPhones, and obviously has gotten over the problem of the echo, and also to use 2 iPhones, and I'm assuming he's using the same address, the email address. Anyway, I'll be in touch with him, and I guess I'll just sign off now. John, thanks very much for dropping by, and I'm glad you caught some of it, and we'll see you next time. Okay, bye for now.